Well, there you are. Hello. Welcome. Yeah, I forgot to turn on my light today. Tomorrow's the day the bride's gonna come. All right. Cheap guitars. Rondo music. For one, I love guitars. Guitars are my passion, have been since I was a kid. And I use a lot of cheap guitars. One of my favorite companies is Rondo, Rondo Music. And you can get some great guitars for little or nothing. I have better guitars. I have like custom shop guitars. And I'll show some of those. But what I like to do is I like to have like a around the house guitar or a few, at least two. So if someone comes over, a lot of times like 4 to 5. But you can just beat around. Don't put it in the case. It's sitting in the corner. Right now I'm playing a Rondo Telly. All right, this is the SX brand. And it's kind of set up like, the Keith Richards kind of, single coil and bridge and humbucker in the neck. And, for a cheap guitar, they don't sound too bad. I mean, if I'm, wide open. Rusty licks. But yeah, I probably around 2010, 2011 is when I really, because I would sell them. I would, I don't know if you know what a Parkcaster is, but you just kind of like a Telecaster, Parkcaster, you just say here and there or whatever. And I would buy 10 of them and you set them up and put in pickups or whatever I was doing. Change necks. And again, this is one of their Telecasters. And I got this, they had after Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving, like Black Friday sale. So this is like $99. And then I spent, I think 20 to have it delivered. Great guitar. I mean, I'd gig with this guitar, but I keep these around just to kind of like a beater guitar, just like sitting in the corner, grab it, your board playing, or friends come over. But yeah, they sound not too bad. So Rondo, they have a couple brands. They have the SX, which this is Telecaster. They have a Hadean, which basically are Telecasters and Strats, and they have their like main guitars are Agile, and they're amazing. Again, it'll blow your mind. Now, every time I've gotten one, you've got to get it set up, and it's got factory strings on it. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of times, pardon me, the action will be high. And just a quick lesson for people that are kind of say if you get a guitar and your action is high, the first thing I do is the truss rod. See this thing here? Get a little Allen wrench. So, and I know it's kind of, you don't want to, if you don't know what you're doing, so if you stick your truss rod in there, pull up to lower the strings, up to lower the strings, down to raise the strings. So I usually do like a crank or two, just depending. And then I'll set the bridge, the saddles. Honestly, I don't like this type of bridge, but hey, it'll do. And there's something about a good Telecaster that it can do it all. When I'm a Les Paul guy, more of a Gibson kind of person, but they, there was times where I was, recording music, working with a band, and there's stuff that a Les Paul can't do. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong; they're my favorite guitars. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, a Telecaster can sound just about like anything. It's like and it's just a simple thing like this. I guess they first came out like 1950, but it's just a simple thing. Volume, tone, toggle switch. This is set up with 50s wiring. It's got only a 3-way toggle switch. Nowadays they have like a 5-way, and it also has the vintage, the flat pole pickup, which I'm impressed with this pickup. In fact, I haven't this Actually, this still has the factory strings. I got this in November of last year. And again, all I did was I two cranks on the neck, little adjustment on the bridge, and everybody that comes over and everybody's played this, they're like, "My God, what are you doing?" Just roll it back to get it. I got a little hot amp with it. This thing's out of tune. But yeah, Rondo music. I think it was around 2010 that I started really. I would buy a lot. I'd buy like 10 of them at a time. And what they do is they do small runs. I think they told me maybe 40 or 50 guitars at a time, and then because they've got a bunch of coming and going. And again, if you're ever on there, if you ever go to Rondo Music, go, wow, that's a great guitar. Let me think about that. No, just grab it because it'll be gone. It may be gone forever. Most of them are made in Korea. I know that they have some that are made in like Indonesia, but I've never had a bad Rondo guitar. For years, I would buy their like it was a Telecaster Deluxe, meaning with like the two humbuckers, 2 volume, 2 tones, toggle switch on the top. I just mod them and then flip them cheap. If I bought them for like, if I had like $150 in it, I would sell it for like $250. And there's a lot of people in LA playing guitars that I modded. I've done hundreds. I can't, at least 200 guitars, at least, and that's low. So I would buy what I like, and then I would sell them. Put again new pickups, of course, set them up, but sometimes not. I mean, like I was going to change this. So what I did when I bought these or this, I bought, I think 3. They were all like $99. And so I just flipped them. I think I sold them for cheap and sold them that, like, bam. I maybe sold for, like, I think 200. I'm not trying to make it, flip a guitar. And so let's see, I spent like 360, I think it was total. Sold the 2 for 400. So I made $40 back. And I basically got a free guitar. I've been doing this forever. I've been doing this for a long time. And I'm sure a lot of you have too, And there's other, like Rondo is good. Probably my favorite just because I've done a lot, used a lot of, did a lot of business with them. But also Guitar Fetish, guitarfetish.com. Check them out. They've never, the Slick, Earl Slick, he was the guitarist for like John Lennon and David Bowie. He's got his own brand of guitar, Slick. And I kind of, they're relic guitars, but I tell you what, man, amazing, amazing. I don't like the way they look, but I mean, they sound great. Swamp Ash. And another one that's great is guitarsgarden.com. Guitars with the S, like plural, Guitars Garden. And their brand is Firefly. And I've had multiple ones. The last Les Paul that I got, literally, I think it was like $200 delivered to, I think it was like $180, $20 shipping, $200 guitar. And it was like their ripoff of the Appetite for Destruction burst. It was like this kind of orangey flame. Amazing guitar. I mean, I was shocked. And I was going to hold on to that, but then people are, how much will you sell? And I sold it. Somebody wanted to buy it. And, I have, guitars, a lot of guitars. So yes, I sold it. And I had a Junior that I actually gave to a friend of mine. And that neck profile is basically what I use to have a guitar made for me. I like a bigger kind of neck, fatter, like 50 style. But with this Telecaster, this is a small, and again, this is a maple fretboard, maple neck. You can't tell, but it's got a little flame there. Yeah, flamey. Can you see that flame? I mean, I bought this guitar for $100. And they're hit and miss. Sometimes they're totally flamey. And this one's actually got some bird's eye, like on the back too. Just take a chance. I mean, what can you see one you like there? Uh, Buy it. Again, you're going to probably have to do the setup or take someone. I got tired of, getting my guitar set up, being in a band or just playing a lot, even, you're going to have, usually if they set it up great, if you got a tech that you can, work with, they'll set it up. It's fine. A trick that I used to do, or I still do, is if my guitar's set up, I don't cut off I restring it one at a time, just so I don't have to go back in and, intonate it or whatever. And so I've been doing my own guitar work. There's certain electronic, if it gets too complicated with the wiring, I'll pay somebody to do that for me. But anything else, I'm doing, because I didn't want to spend. It was like $40 every time. Like $40, man. I'm gonna spend. Now there's no telling what it is because I don't get it done. I just do myself. I change the strings. And I eyeball. Like, I'm not a tech. And I've had guys like, what do you, I'm eyeballing it. They're like, damn, it's intonated. I mean, you're a little off, but go by ear. How I like a little bit of low action. I know people, Stevie Ray Vaughan, man, he had like high strings. Yngwie Malmsteen, I like a little bit of I don't want to fight with the guitar. Yeah, I don't want to mess around. But if you get too low, it's not good. You're going to lose some snappy, and you want to, everybody's different. If you're strumming chords, wow, let it take. Yeah, if you're strumming chords, you might want it low. I know I do. I'm not much of, because I was a singer. I mean, I started out as a bass player. I always played guitar. First, I was singing, but since I've been like my solo stuff, I sing and play guitar. I've always had a three-piece. I sing and play guitar. I need a bass player and a drummer. So I'm not like a lead shredder. I can play lead. I've always played lead on my albums and stuff, but live, there's a dropout if I'm doing. And quite honestly, singing and playing lead it's a bitch. That's why I take my hat off to people that, Jimi Hendrix singing and playing those. It's just unbelievable, mind blowing. But you got to do you. And so yeah, Rondo music, love, love, love. Guitar Fetish and Guitar's Garden. Check them out. I totally recommend it. I have bought many times, many. I mean, again, I know in 2011, I think that's when I started buying them in like bulk, like 10 at a time, 7, 10. And I could get by flipping guitars. Again, I've done this so much. There's so many people that are playing my guitar. I actually researched and I found companies that will actually make guitars for you, like slap your name on it or logo. What do you want to do? But I could never find a company that was good enough for my name to be put on it. No, but I mean, it's what it is. A lot of them are overseas. I don't know if you know what a Gibson is, but a Chinese Gibson. I mean, now they've gotten so. I mean, I can tell right off the bat, but they've gotten really good at like faking guitars, trippy. And I've had some of those, and some of those were really good compared. You know what I mean? For a cheap guitar. But I got some Les Paul, like Sunburst Les Paul standards with an ebony fretboard. I mean, but I felt bad. I was like, look, because it said Gibson, and he was said made in America on the back and the serial number. And when you went to the like serial number generator, it would say it's scary. Like it seemed like, no. I would always tell people, like, look, because people are selling those for real. Watch out. Be forewarned. Open up the cavity. There's certain things. It'll look great. If I start, taking off looking inside, you'll be able to tell. And people do. To this day, if I'm looking around, I see people trying to pass off these fake guitars, and it's just heartbreaking, man. Like, there's thieves everywhere, basically. But I've sold a few. I got them for cheap, and I sold them for cheap. But I was always honest, like, hey, this is not a real Gibson, and it says Gibson. And I have a Johnny Thunders replica that I'm a huge Johnny Thunders fan. That says Gibson. Matter of fact, it's got a real Gibson veneer on the headstock, but it was made by a luthier in like San Gabriel Valley, California. And it's funny how things are. Like, big Johnny Thunders fan, and this is a replica, so it's got most of the. It's worn. It looks like an older guitar, and it's a great guitar. It amazing. And the guy who he commissioned this guy. I mean, he paid a lot of money. This guy was rich, and he had the money just to, hey, make me a Johnny Thunders replica. So I saw it online. I think I saw it on Craigslist. I was like, man, I got to have that. Because I've had multiple, I've even done my own Johnny Thunders kind of replica, multiple ones, right? But this one's like pretty much spot on. And I know outside, in San Gabriel Valley, that's where all Jackson, Charvel, a lot of the luthiers are out there. And their side hustle is they will make you a great guitar. You might have to spend some money, and you're not going to get any of the case candy or the, like certificates or whatever you get. I mean, these are basically outlaw guitars. They're, if you use Gibson specs and do the tilt and the whole, headstock, they'll eventually come after you. You're going to get a cease and desist order. But the guy had the Johnny Thunders guitar, and I wanted it. And he had paid like outrageous amount of money to have it made. And this was I've had it for about maybe 5 years, maybe 6 years. So I contact the guy and I say, hey, I'm interested. Would you do like a trade, a partial trade, partial cash? So what I offered 2 really nice Les Pauls. No, 2 really nice Telecasters and a lot of cash. He said no. Cool. So sometimes if you're wheeling and dealing, just don't worry. Just a carpet bomb, bam, bam, bam. Somebody will say it. He said no. Cool. Move on with my life. Like months later, maybe 2 months later, I get an email. He goes, hey, I'll do the trade if you have the Telecasters and the cash. And I hadn't. I'd sold one of the Telecasters. So I said, look, man, I can't do it. I've only got the one Telecaster in the cash. I sold the other Telecaster. And he's like, oh, that's fine. What? You say no. You say no. And then you're okay. Cool. Hey. So I did. Met him at the 7-Eleven and we did the swap. And I gave him, I think I gave him like $1,500 plus like a $1,000 Telecaster. He claimed he spent over $5,000 to have this thing made, which he might have. I mean, some of those custom shop guys, they're not cheap. And it's a great guitar. One of the best Les Pauls I've ever played. And it's not a real Les Paul. And I'll do an episode. I'll show it. I'll show you my Johnny Thunders replica. But he did it. Again, it's like, huh? You offer 2 guitars plus, whatever cash. No. Months later, I'll do it. But for less, hey, it happens. And that's why you want to get out there and just, if you're into guitars, say if you got a cheap, bad guitar, just trade up. Just keep trading till you get what you want. But in my mind, for the money, you can't go wrong with Rondo Music, rondomusic.com. Again, in November, I bought 2, or no, I bought 3. Yeah, and I ended up with cash plus a free guitar. This guitar basically is a free guitar. How I just and in my mind, everybody should be doing it. I think trading guitars are fun. I get it. People are into video games, whatever. I love guitars. I love to play. I've been able to separate the stress and anxiety of trying to write a song and the pleasure of playing. because that happened to me too. I don't know if this happened to other people, but you're all stressed out trying to, oh, it's my art, you know, and you just don't want to look at your guitar. You have to separate, you know, you have to just like look, you know. So I usually play an hour a day, you know. Lately I haven't, but since I've moved and um I in my name these walls are pretty thin. I've got to play kind of low, but yeah, usually an hour a day. And I'm way out of like I'm not, you know, like as far as like gigging, there's no way. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't want to. I'm all about rehearsing. People are going to see you. You got to be good. But yeah, Rondo music, I can't count how many I've gotten. And even the Agile, they have Les Paul copies. I mean, it's kind of, the horn is a little bit, you know, shorter. Amazing guitar. So they're top of the line. Say if you want like a neck through with like abalone and ebony fretboard, stainless steel frets, and just that is about $500. But amazing guitars. I've had Agiles that played better than Gibsons. Some of them didn't. Some of them did. And they have different neck profiles. I've had the fat ones, the skinny ones. But they actually use like real, like if it says like it's a maple cap, it's a real maple cap, meaning a piece of maple on top of the mahogany. Because nowadays they just use like a thin piece of veneer. Or they'll even do a photo finish. It's like, oh, look at my flame top guitar. That's a photo, man. That's, you know, I get it if it's cheap. But some of my favorite tellies from Rondo are they have P90s. And a P90 pickup is a kind of a cross between it's a single coil pickup, a cross between kind of a single coil and a humbucker. It's just like a hotter wound single coil. But honestly, P90s are some of my favorite pickups. But there's nothing worse than a bad P90 pickup, man. I mean, it's the Firefly that I got. That was one thing. It's a great guitar. Everything's great. But that P90, I mean, it's good, but it isn't, you know, it should be, you know, squalling like a banshee. And they also have, sometimes they'll include, like they'll say it's a P90, but you get it. It's a stacked P90, meaning so it's hum canceling. You don't get that like 60 cycle hum, which I don't even mind. If it's a good, if it's really bad, that 60 cycle will drive me crazy. But yeah, the Telecasters with the P90s, they also have these kind of Jaguar looking, but I think they call them the Liquid. Those are amazing, amazing. And you can get those with like 3 P90s, and they're not that expensive. And sometimes they have different kind of, you know, bridges. My last Liquid, I think they're the SX brand, and they call it Liquid. It's like a Jazz Master looking thing. The last one I had became one of my favorite guitars, but it was one of those things I get, somebody was around, dude, I want to, and what did they traded me something, I think like a really nice, I think it was a Fender Telecaster. Like I got a great deal off this cheap guitar. But again, I've yet to see that type of, they don't have they have different liquids or SS liquids with it, but they have runs that you might not see them ever again. So you just never know. I've never gotten a bad guitar from either Rondo Music, Guitar Fetish, or Guitar Gardens. And Rondo Music, you can also buy, they have like blemish, like it might have a little scratch on it or a little paint defect. I don't care. In fact, I'd rather have a blemished guitar because you save money. I mean, do you really care? I mean, you want a little bit of mojo. I don't really like too nice. I can't, for one, I can't pull it off. You know, I can't be on stage with like I have flying V's, which I can do that, you know, but they're not all pointy and, you know, just, I can't pull off like a rock star guitar. That's just me personally. I'm tall. I just need something simple. Just, you know, I let my music do the talking. And if you can pull that off, God bless you, man. I mean, there's, you know, but yeah, check them out. If you're looking for something that's cheap, good, check out Rondo Music, Guitar Fetish, uh, Guitarist Garden, the Fireflies. Amazing guitars. And you can also mod them out. I love modding out. You not believe how much just changing a pickup in a guitar or the nut. I'm a, I love Gibson pickups. I love Seymour Duncan pickups because I've got both and DiMarzio. I mean, I've always been, I'm up and down. Like Seymour Duncan, DiMarzio. Now I have both. Right now, in one of my V's, I have a custom JB, like a custom wound. You can get like the standard one, or you can get it like custom hand wound. I've got a JB in one of my flying V's. My other flying V, I've got DiMarzio Fred, which is designed by Joe Satriani, like the shredder Joe Satriani. And I love it. I mean, it's just, I love that pickup. What else do I have? Fred. Oh, and then in my custom junior, I've got a DiMarzio, I think it's a 36 annual PAF pickup. And what PAF stands for, it's patent applied for. So when they first made the humbucker, his name was Seth Lover, working at Gibson. They just took two single coils and wound them together, canceling, humbucker. I think that was in 57. So they do, the DiMarzio does a reproduction of that. One of my favorite pickups of all time. And that's just humbly my personal opinion, but that 36th annual or anniversary PAF DiMarzio is just, I love it. I've got it in my junior. And my other guitar, this is my only, like, right now, like, cheap guitar that I have. I used to have like a bunch. Again, that was kind of my side business, was not just finding cheap guitars, but I would scour Craigslist, OfferUp, Take 5, whatever it was, apps and everything, and I'd buy a bunch. One of the best deals I ever got was I was on OfferUp, and it was in El Monte, California, which is kind of like where I was in Arcadia, right near Arcadia. And they had like a music store that went out of business. So I bought, you could bid on like lots of guitars, like a lot, like, so I think there was 9 guitars. It was like 8 Les Paul copies and 1 Strat copy. So I just sent in a low ball. I think it was $340. Like all the cash I had on me. I was like, hey, what could I, $340? Guy's like, yeah, I'll take it. Come and get them. So I went and got them. And the strange thing is about those, and I forgot the name of these copies. And it took me about a year, but I turned those, I mean, I ended up with, selling, flipping, trading, whatever you got. I did pretty well. I'd rather buy like a bunch at a time. And to me, it's fun. I'd like to have, I had my last roommate that I had in LA, I had, I think, 13 guitars in the living room. Just sitting around, I mean, it was piles. And when I left Los Angeles, unfortunately, I couldn't bring like a lot of I just didn't have the room. So I left, what did I leave? I left 2 half stacks. One of them was a cheap, like line 6, like 150 watt, but it was a head with a cab. And that was kind of like what I kept in the living room just to, mess around with. And honestly, I don't like line 6 amps, but I could get one sound out of it that was kind of cool. And I like to mess around with, like, I don't record with effects, but it has all these effects and knobs. It's fun just to, in your living room, I was playing an hour, just keep myself, happy, and my chops. But yeah, I left behind 2 half stacks. The other one, I actually had to leave my a really nice cabinet. And I don't even want to think about what I left, but I left a lot. But all this, and one of the reasons why I left it, I was trying to sell it before I left, but it didn't sell, was I'd gotten this stuff basically for free. Meaning you're selling, you're trading, you're buying, hey, I'll include this, that, or I'll do the deal. And, will you take, X amount of money and I'll add in. So I got this, you end up making your money back and you've got this stuff sitting around. I don't want to be worrying about, man, these halves. I mean, again, this is just me. I wouldn't gig with a line 6 amp. That's just me. I mean, right now I do have a really nice tube head. But at the house, I don't mind solid state line 6. Who cares? Right now I'm playing a cheap, it's a Fender Mustang 2, I think it is. It's got a 12-inch speaker, 40 watt, just for an apartment amp. And honestly, I could gig with this. It's got like all these amp models and effects, which I really don't use, but it's fun to have. Built-in tuner. Again, around the house, cool. And if I was desperate, if I like, hey, we're gonna pay you to play, I would use it. But I usually would want tube amps. But everybody's, sometimes it's more impressive to pull something off with a bunch of shitty gear. And I've seen it. We're like, who are these? And then it's blow your mind. Like, oh my God. And so if you're, to wrap this up, if you're looking for like cheap guitars or a cheap guitar, or if you want to get into like modding guitars, it's like start, doing what you're going to do. I'd suggest Rondo music. And if Rondo doesn't have what you got, go to Guitar Fetish. Guitar Fetish doesn't have what you got, go to Guitar's Garden. I mean, you really can't go wrong. You will have to set them up. They usually have, everybody's different. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes they're ready to go. But I think this one still had, the one I'm playing now has the factory strings. I might not have restrung this, but I might have. I might have forgot. So yeah, play guitar. Find yourself a cheap guitar. Even, I think, as art, like just to have a guitar and hang it on the wall or put it in a corner, it just kind of pops. It makes everything more, and if you want a conversation piece or, have guitars, even if you don't play, you can learn to play. I mean, it's fun. You can, no matter how old you are, like just start playing. And I thank y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, go to the description, Zelle. All the information is there. And again, go buy a guitar, get a guitar, buy one, buy your girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend, whoever it is, hook them up with like a cheap Rondo. And it'll blow your mind. Some of these, again, you're like, why are these other companies paying so much when I can buy one of these, So just do it. It sounds like a Nike commercial, but just do it. And look, I love y'all. Be blessed. And I will see you tomorrow. Cheers.